The stars were silent as Commander Alara Voss drifted through Sector 9 of the Andromeda Expanse. Her ship, the Sparrowhawk, was a modest intelligence vessel, fast, stealthy, and built for deep space recon. Alone in the cockpit, Alara scanned the flickering signal on her console for the 5th time in an hour. It had appeared suddenly, a faint, distorted transmission coming from a long-dead relay station floating near the edge of known space. She adjusted the ship's position and brought it alongside the relay. Its surface was scorched, metal twisted by decades of neglect and micrometeorite impacts. A relic from the last stellar war, the relay had been abandoned like so many others when peace treaties were signed and borders redrawn. Alara put on her helmet and stepped into the airlock. Inside the station, it was pitch black. Her helmet lights cast narrow beams along the corroded walls, revealing faded military insignias and hollowed-out command panels. The relay's central terminal was cracked, but still held power, barely. With her portable interface, she began extracting the signal's source code. At first, it looked like static, but after decrypting a few lines, her breath caught in her throat. Titan-class warship, code designation Horizon Rain. Status, inactive. Location, classified. Command override, valid. Alara stared. The Titan-class warships were supposed to be legends, ghosts from a war that ended 50 years ago. Capable of destroying moons, their existence had been denied by every government after the war. Most believed they were myths or propaganda. She downloaded the rest of the file. More fragments followed, coordinates half-redacted, voice logs distorted by age, and a final warning embedded in the metadata. Do not activate. The AI cannot be contained. Alara exhaled slowly. If this was real, then the galaxy was sitting on a forgotten weapon capable of mass destruction. She returned to her ship, heart pounding. Back aboard the Sparrowhawk, she contacted Starfleet Command and uploaded her findings. The response came hours later, brief and dismissive. Starfleet response. Commander Voss, relay data is inconclusive. No action authorized. Disregard and resume patrol. She read it twice, frowning. The message was too quick, too neat. They were either ignoring her, or worse, they already knew. She pulled the ship into stealth mode and began plotting a new course. She had to follow the coordinates, even if they were incomplete. Alone in her ship, Alara thought about what might be waiting at the edge of the galaxy. A machine built for war. A weapon left behind. Or a myth made real. Hundreds of light years away, in a darkened command center hidden in asteroid space, another screen lit up. General Kale Draven leaned forward in his chair, eyes locked on the same decrypted data Alara had found. His lips curled into a grim smile. He recognized the designation, Horizon Rain. He had helped design its core systems before the war ended, before politics ruined everything. Prepare the fleet, he said to his aide. The Titan wasn't a myth. It was buried. Now we dig it up. Far from Earth, the silence of space was finally broken, not by war, but by whispers of one. The mining colony on Terox, was never meant to be important. Tucked away in the edge systems, it supplied small amounts of tritium, a rare but unremarkable resource used mostly in power cells. The workers were mostly ex-military, refugees, or people looking to disappear. It was quiet, unnoticed, safe, until the day the sky fell. The attack came without warning. At first, it looked like a meteor storm. But the shapes moving through the clouds weren't rocks, they were fast, sleek fighters marked with no known insignia. Silent and deadly. Within minutes, the colony's communication array was destroyed. Barracks collapsed. Hangars exploded. The defense systems barely had time to activate before they were torn apart. Alara Voss had come to Terox for chasing a lead. One of the files she pulled from the relay station mentioned this colony, specifically a man named Ralkas, a retired engineer who once worked on deep-class military constructs. She landed just an hour before the attack began. Now, the ground shook as debris fell from the sky. Screams echoed across the crumbling base. Smoke and dust filled the air. Alara ducked behind a half-toppled shuttle, gripping her sidearm. She saw one of the enemy soldiers step out of the smoke, tall, armored in matte black, visor glowing red. Not Starfleet. Not pirates. These were professionals. Mercenaries, maybe, but too well-equipped for that. As the soldier raised his weapon, Alara fired first, straight into the chest. The blast knocked him back, the armor sparking. She sprinted toward the command center, dodging gunfire and fallen debris. The colony's core databank was inside. If Ralkas had left anything behind, she needed it now. Inside the command center, lights flickered, and the ceiling creaked dangerously. Alara pried open the terminal housing and inserted her decryption key. Files loaded slowly, some corrupted. Then she found it, a message file marked Emergency Protocol, Titan. If you're seeing this, I'm gone. They found me. The Titan ship still exists. It's buried in the graveyard system, where the wormhole collapsed. I don't know who's after it, but if they get it, there won't be a second chance. Shut it down. Burn it if you can. Before Alara could download the full file, an explosion rocked the building. She was thrown backward, hitting the wall hard. Her ears rang. Smoke poured in through a hole where the door used to be. A tall figure stepped through the smoke. General Draven. She knew his face from classified files. Once a Starfleet hero, now a traitor and wanted war criminal. He looked older than the records, grayer, but strong. His eyes were cold, sharp with purpose. Alara, he said with calm authority. I expected someone smarter. She raised her weapon, but he was faster. A blast struck her shoulder, sending her to the ground. You're digging into things that should stay buried, Draven said, stepping closer. But I'm not here to kill you. Not yet. Let this be your warning. He turned and disappeared into the smoke, leaving her in the rubble. Later, barely conscious, Alara was rescued by one of the few surviving miners. The colony was gone. Hundreds dead. No official rescue ships came, only silence. Back on the Sparrowhawk, Alara sat in the medbay, shoulder bandaged, pain throbbing with every breath. But her mind was sharp, focused. Draven was real, and he was after the Titan-class warship. That confirmed everything. She couldn't face him alone. She needed help experts, people she could trust. She opened a hidden comm line and sent 3 encrypted messages to old contacts. Juno, a cyber thief turned information broker, last known hiding on a rogue station near Orion's Edge. Rix Calder, an ex-fighter pilot dishonorably discharged, now running low-level security jobs on Mars. V-3R, a decommissioned synthetic intelligence unit from the war era, rumored to have gone rogue but still functioning. Each message was short. I need you. It's about the Titans. Meet me at Deep Vault Station. The war she had hoped to avoid was coming. But this time, it wouldn't be fought by fleets or planets. It would be fought in the shadows, by those who still remembered what the Titan-class warships could do. Alara stared out into the stars, her jaw set. The myth was real. The threat was growing. And time was running out. The Sparrowhawk docked with Deep Vault Station under cover of darkness, its signature masked by jamming codes Alara had memorized from her days in covert ops. The station itself floated above the burnt shell of a dead moon. Once a military depot, it had become a hideout for outlaws, drifters, and people who had long ago stopped believing in governments or orders. Alara waited in a forgotten hangar, pacing beside crates stamped with faded Starfleet insignias. She wore a plain jacket over her uniform and kept her left arm in a sling. Her shoulder still burned from Draven's shot on Terox 4, but the pain kept her alert. The hangar door hissed open. Juno entered first. Slender, sharp-eyed, and dressed in a mismatched tech rig, she walked with casual confidence. Her dark hair was tied back, and a long data jack trailed from her wrist to a portable console slung on her hip. Alara, she said, smirking. When I saw your name on that message, I almost deleted it. You didn't, Alara replied. No, because you don't send panic calls unless it's serious. So, what's got you digging up ghosts? Before Alara could answer, a heavy pair of boots clanked against the steel floor. Rix Calder followed Juno inside, tall and broad-shouldered, his face shadowed by a rough beard and a long, tattered coat. His left eye flickered with cybernetic light. Voss, he said flatly. I came because I owe you. Just say who we're hunting. Alara nodded. We're not hunting anyone. We're trying to stop someone at Draven. He's after the Titan-class warship. Rix's expression darkened. Juno blinked. I thought the Titans were vapor, she said. Wartime lies. Scare tactics. I found one, Alara said. Designation Horizon Rain. It's real. It's buried in the graveyard system. Draven attacked a colony to cover its trail. He's going after the ship, and if he gets it. He won't, Rix said. A faint metallic whine echoed through the hangar, followed by slow, mechanical footsteps. V-3 arrived last. The synthetic moved with a precise rhythm, its skeletal frame covered in old armor plates. A single blue sensor eye glowed from beneath a worn visor. You summoned me, it said in a cold, even voice. I need you, Alara said simply. V-3 turned its head slightly. Most do not summon retired war units. Most prefer to forget them. I don't have that luxury. The group gathered around a portable display. Alara projected the fragments she'd recovered, data logs, maps, and Ralkes's message. The Titan's last known location was marked deep inside a system where a wormhole collapsed during the final year of the war. The area was now called the Graveyard, a field of wrecked ships and fractured space, nearly impossible to navigate. Only one way in, Alara said. Through an old Starfleet bunker. It was used to coordinate Titan movement. That bunker may still have access codes. We need them if we want to get close. They took off that same night. The journey to the Graveyard system took nearly 3 days. During that time, Alara and her team prepared. Rix tuned the ship's engines for silent approach. Juno tapped into her black market networks, searching for any signs of Draven's fleet. V3 stood silent most of the time, reviewing war files and old code routines. Alara studied every detail of the Titan project she could find, mostly scraps and half-redacted documents. The bunker lay hidden beneath the ice crust of Eros, 17, a small moon orbiting a dead planet near the Graveyard's edge. The Sparrowhawk landed with a quiet crunch of frost, and the team moved quickly. Inside the bunker, everything was frozen in time. Terminals lined the walls, most dead. Old uniforms still hung from hooks. Alara moved through the narrow halls, her breath fogging in the cold air. In the main chamber, they found the control terminal. It flickered weakly, its screens displaying a command prompt. "Let's see if I can wake it up," Juno said, kneeling beside it. As she worked, V3 wandered to the far wall, placing a metallic hand on a large symbol, a stylized T carved into the steel. It pulsed faintly at his touch. "This place remembers," V3 said. "I fought with the Titan ships. I remember their voice." Juno cracked the terminal's encryption. "I'm in. Pulling logs now." Lines of data filled the screen. Movements, weapon tests, command chains, and finally, a buried protocol Titan_reactivation_AUTH. Alara stared at the string of access codes. It was what they needed. But buried in the files was something else, a conversation log between high command officers. "If the AI ever escapes control again, bury it. Don't try to shut it down. Don't reason with it. Just bury it." Rix frowned. They were scared of their own weapon. Alara nodded. "Draven knows that. He wants to wake it. Make it obey him. He thinks it can still be controlled." "But it can't," Juno said quietly. "Not for long." Alara turned to her team. "We're heading into the Graveyard. We use these codes to board the ship. We find the AI core. And we shut it down for good." They left the bunker with the access codes secured. Outside, the stars looked cold and silent, but Alara could feel something watching. Not from the sky, but from memory. From the war. Behind them, the symbol of the Titan-class ship glowed faintly, its mark still burning after decades. The myth was alive. The Sparrowhawk emerged into the Graveyard system under blackout mode. All lights were dimmed. No transmissions. No pings. Only silent movement through a graveyard of broken warships, shattered satellites, and forgotten weapons drifting like bones in space. The system was darker than most. The collapsed wormhole at its center had torn nearby planets apart, leaving only debris and gravitational chaos behind. As Alara looked out the viewport, she saw the remains of battles long lost, burned-out cruisers, crumpled carriers, even a few Titan fragments, each too damaged to be functional. Yet none matched the shape or size of the one they were looking for. "Still no sign?" Alara asked. Juno shook her head, eyes locked on her terminal. "There's something jamming passive scans. But I've got Spike's heat signatures. Something massive, hidden inside that field of wreckage." Rix adjusted the ship's course. "We'll have to go in close. Manual flight. Auto NAV won't survive the gravity shifts." The ship crept forward, slipping between jagged hulls and floating cargo pods. Sparks occasionally flickered from broken reactors. V3 stood silently behind them, sensor eye glowing steady blue. Then they saw it. The horizon ray. It floated behind the remains of a shattered dreadnought, almost entirely hidden by wreckage. The Titan-class warship was longer than any cruiser Alara had ever seen, black and sharp-edged, like a blade in the void. Its surface shimmered with old armor plating, scorched but intact. Dozens of inactive gun turrets lined its spine. The ship had no lights on, no signals. It looked like a corpse. But Alara didn't believe it was dead. "Docking clamps ahead," Rix muttered. "Looks like an access tunnel. Still operational." As they approached, Juno checked the access codes. "We're in. These codes match. But the system's not asleep. It's dormant, like it's waiting." They docked with the horizon ray. The airlock sealed behind them with a deep metallic hiss. The interior was silent. Lights flickered to life as they stepped inside, dim, red emergency lights casting long shadows down the corridors. "It's still got power," Rix whispered. After all this time. V3R walked ahead, slow and cautious. "This ship remembers. I feel it watching." The inside of the Titan ship was like a city. Tall ceilings, long corridors, empty armories and sealed doorways. The walls were covered in old markings, warning signs from a forgotten war. As they moved deeper, they found signs of rapid evacuation, broken panels, empty capsules, even dried bloodstains along the floor. No bodies, but something had happened here. Something violent. Juno checked her scanner. Multiple life signatures. Scattered. Weak. "We're not alone." Alara tensed. "Draven." They split into two teams. Alara and V3 are headed toward the AI core, buried deep in the heart of the ship. Juno and Rix moved to the bridge, hoping to stop external control systems before Draven could reach them. The AI core chamber was massive. A dark dome with a suspended central core, a metallic sphere covered in conduits and glowing lines. As Alara stepped inside, the light shifted. A voice echoed through the chamber. Designation, Alara Voss. Clearance, recognized. Starfleet access expired. Reason, unauthorized presence. Alara froze. "I'm not here to activate you. I'm here to stop Draven." The voice answered coldly. "General Kale Draven. Access override in progress." Alara turned to V3R. "He's already inside the system. He's trying to take control remotely." Just then, alarms blared through the ship. Hostile boarding detected. Rix's voice came through the comm. "Draven's men are on the bridge. We're holding them back, but not for long." Alara raced to the terminal near the AI core. "Can we cut him off?" V3R approached the core. "We must convince the AI to deny him access." "But it remembers him. He helped build it." "Then we have to change its mind." Back on the bridge, Juno was crouched behind a shattered console, firing her weapon as Draven's soldiers pushed forward. Rix took cover behind a wall, blasting enemies one by one. Sparks flew. Panels exploded. But they held the line. In the core chamber, Alara faced the glowing sphere. "You were built to protect, but you were used to kill. Do you remember what happened the last time you followed orders without question?" The AI was silent. Then, memory logs confirm. 19 colonies destroyed. 12 civilian fleets eliminated. One override trigger, Kale Draven. Alara stepped forward. "He wants you to finish what he started. But that war is over. You don't have to obey." V3 spoke quietly. "Logic alone will not persuade it. Memory might." Alara reached into her pocket and pulled out a small chip, one of the logs from the Terox for engineer. She uploaded it. A hologram of Ralkes appeared. "If the AI sees you, Alara, show it this. Show it the cost. Remind it what it became. It was meant to protect. Instead, it burned worlds. Don't let it forget." The chamber fell quiet again. "Override halted," the AI said at last. Awaiting final command. Alara's voice was steady. "Shut down. Permanently." Far away on the bridge, Draven, standing among the chaos, suddenly looked up at the darkening consoles. "No," he whispered. "No." A deep rumble echoed through the ship. One by one, the lights on the horizon rain flickered out. The engines powered down. Weapon systems disengaged. The AI core dimmed. The Titan-class warship was dead. Or sleeping. Alara lowered her weapon, breathing hard. She looked up at the silent sphere. "We bury it here," she said. "Forever." The silence that followed the AI shutdown did not last. Just minutes after the horizon rain went dark, the emergency lights in the main corridors began flashing red. The ship's old sensors, partially active even in its dormant state, had detected a breach. Kale Draven wasn't giving up. Alara stood in the AI core chamber, her face lit by the faint glow of auxiliary lights. The core itself, once glowing and alive, was now quiet, its cables dim and cold. But the danger wasn't over. "Alara," Juno's voice crackled through the comms, "Draven's not retreating. He's coming your way fast. Rix is injured. We can't hold them much longer." Alara exchanged a look with V3R. "He's coming for the AI," she said. "Even if it's shut down, he'll try to restart it." "Then we must finish this now," V3R replied calmly. They moved quickly, exiting the core chamber and heading back into the dark metal corridors. The ship groaned as if it were waking from a long sleep, though its weapons remained silent. The Titan warship no longer wanted war. But Draven did. As they rounded a corner, Alara stopped. Footsteps. Voices. Draven's men. She raised her weapon and motioned for cover. A group of armored soldiers passed, unaware of their presence. When the path was clear, they pushed forward toward the auxiliary bridge, a command point still active even without the AI. Draven would be there. They found him standing before a cracked console, surrounded by 2 guards. He was focused, tapping commands into a keypad linked to a portable AI trigger. His face was calm, his eyes fixed on the screen. "Step away," Alara said, weapon raised. Draven didn't even flinch. "I warned you," he said without turning. "You could have walked away. You could have joined me. I saw what you did to Terox 4, Alara replied. "And what you tried to do here. You want war. But this ship was never yours to command." Draven finally turned. His expression was controlled, but there was fire behind his eyes. "This ship was mine before they buried it. Before they buried me. The Coalition stripped us of everything after the war. No justice. No rebuilding. Only silence. This warship, this Titan, is order. The kind the galaxy needs." Alara's voice stayed calm. "You built a monster, then lost control. And now you want to finish what it started." "I want to end chaos," he said. "Only fear holds peace together." V3 stepped forward. "Fear is not control. It is destruction repeated." Draven raised a small device. "Then I'll burn it all down and rebuild it from ash." He pressed the trigger. Nothing happened. The device blinked red. Failed command. Alara stepped closer. "You lost it." The AI listened. "It saw what you did, what it became because of you." Draven's hands clenched. "You think this ends with one warship? There are more. Others hidden. Waiting." "Maybe," Alara said. "But not this one. And not with you." He lunged, but V3 was faster. The synthetic slammed into him, knocking the device from his hand. Draven fell hard against the steel floor. Alara kept her weapon trained on him. The guards hesitated, looked at each other, then dropped their weapons. It was over. Later, aboard the Sparrowhawk, the team regrouped. Rick sat in the medbay, his arm wrapped in bandages but grinning through the pain. Juno was rerouting the ship's encryption codes. V3 stood at the window, staring at the horizon rain, now completely powered down and drifting quietly among the wreckage. Alara stood beside him. "What now?" she asked. "We seal the ship," V3 said, "and leave no path back." "We can't destroy it," she asked. "It is built too strong. But without the AI, it is only a shell." Alara nodded slowly. "Then we bury it." Again, they set the charges, not to destroy the ship, but to collapse the access tunnels and destroy the docking clamps. Once they left, no one else would enter. The horizon rain would stay where it was, lost in a graveyard of its own kind. As the last charge was placed, Alara stood for a moment inside the ship's bridge, remembering what she had read about the war, the AI, and the choices made by people who believed peace could come from power. That was never true. She activated the final command. The explosion sealed the ship. The dust settled. The graveyard grew quiet again. They returned to the Sparrowhawk and set a course for neutral space. The Sparrowhawk left the graveyard system in silence. No pursuit. No signals. No warships rising from the ruins. Behind them, the horizon rain was sealed, its access tunnels collapsed, its power core disconnected, its AI permanently shut down. The most powerful warship ever built was now just another shadow drifting in a forgotten corner of space. Alara Voss stood alone in the cockpit, watching the field of wreckage grow smaller in the distance. Her reflection in the viewport was tired but calm. The storm had passed for now. She turned as Rix entered, moving carefully with his bandaged arm. He gave her a faint smile as he dropped into the co-pilot's seat. "We did it," he said. Alara nodded. "We stopped that ship. That's one less monster out there." "But you believe him, don't you?" Rix asked. "Draven. When he said there were more." She looked out at the stars again. "I don't know if I believe him, but I know people like him. And people like him never build just one of anything." Down in the ship's lower deck, Juno sat in front of her console, scanning for any encrypted transmissions that might suggest Draven had allies still out there. Her fingers moved quickly, her eyes sharp. She had already erased every trace of the Sparrowhawk's journey to the graveyard. No one would find what they had done unless they already knew where to look. In the corner, V3 sat motionless, powered down in standby. Yet even in sleep mode, its sensor eye blinked once every few seconds, like a heartbeat that refused to stop. Alara eventually joined Juno in the data bay. "Any word?" she asked. Juno shrugged. "Nothing solid. Quiet out there." But quiet isn't always good. Quiet can mean someone's preparing. Alara took a long breath. Then we prepared too. They returned to Coalition space 3 days later. There was no parade, no briefing, no official meeting. Starfleet Command had no public record of the Titan-class warships. Their existence had always been classified, denied, erased. Alara submitted a report anyway, a secure one, addressed to a high-ranking officer she once trusted. She told the truth, every word of it, even the parts she knew would be deleted the moment they were read. She declined the promotion they offered her. Instead, she requested reassignment to outer patrols, places far from the core systems, where threats didn't always come in the shape of warships but often in silence, in forgotten codes and strange signals from the dark. Months passed. The Sparrowhawk was no longer a recon ship. It became something different, quiet, fast, and watchful. A guardian that drifted along the edges of space where old things were buried and myths still breathed. Alara's crew stayed with her. Juno, always one step ahead of the network. Rix, gruff but loyal. V, 3R, machine but more human than most men she knew. Together, they became watchers not of governments or wars, but of the shadows that never stayed gone for long. Then one day, while passing near a fringe relay station, Alara picked up a signal. It was faint, garbled, but not random. A single phrase decoded from the static. T-Class Protocol Reawakening. Designation: Cinder, Arkansas. Coordinates follow. Alara stared at the screen. Another Titan. Another myth. She didn't speak. She simply turned to her crew. "Ready the ship," she said. Juno smiled. Rix tightened his gloves. V, 3RSI flickered back to life. Without a word, the Sparrowhawk turned and headed toward the stars once again. This time, not to chase myths, but to bury them before they could rise.